Well, yeah, it's that good. Yeah, so it is in. I bought an American Liberty 2021 high relief gold coin, and it is absolutely hot. If you're a collector or you just have a particular reason to be interested in this particular coin, it's even better in person than it is on any of those rendered images you see from the US Mint. It wasn't cheap though. This coin was just over $2,700 at a time when gold was trading for right around $1,800. So it came with a 50% premium. And the fact that it was the US Mint charging that premium directly, well, it makes it seem a little bit worse to me. Now, I realized that the Mint was just charging a 414% premium on the new Morgan and Peace dollars, so it isn't a huge surprise that it would be expensive, but this is definitely not a typical or even particularly rational purchase to me. But like I said, if you can justify it to yourself, then I would say that this is one of the nicest gold coins that the US Mint has ever produced. I don't know how this will do in the secondary market. Honestly, I don't really care a whole lot, but it did sell out in about 24 hours. It went on back order about an hour after it launched. Mintage was limited to 12,500 coins, so it was really, for me at least, it was hard to say what would happen. I had mine ordered in the first few minutes, but I wasn't buying it to flip it, like I mentioned. I just don't think the margins are typically high enough to make it worthwhile on a gold coin from the US Mint. Now, last year, the V75 American Gold Eagle, that's a good example of an exception to that, but typically, if you have to put in $2,700 for a coin, it has to sell for quite a bit before it's worth doing it. And if you aren't familiar with the coin, it's a 24 karat 1 ounce coin. It's minted at the West Point Mint, and it's the fourth in the series of these high relief American Liberty releases. Now, I don't have the first one, but I've picked up the most recent two. Well, I guess the most recent three now. Anyway, we'll come back to them in a minute. The wild Mustang on the coin, well, I guess this is meant to represent America bucking off the British rule in the American Revolution. So that's what the Liberty is all about. Now, they are not kidding about this being a high relief coin. The sculpture has far more depth than any of the prior three coins. And there are maybe a few things that seem a little bit odd with the typography. Maybe I'm not a huge fan of the cartoon sun that the horse is superimposed over. But this is easily my favorite art on any coin that I own. Maybe not specifically because of the subject matter, but the depth of the coin is just really unique. Now the reverse, whatever. It's a headshot of an eagle, and the Mint seems to be into that this year. But I don't particularly like that side. I suppose the close-up of the angry eagle is just a good counterbalance to the action shot of the horse. That's really hard to see on the coin through the naked eye, but it does have a face value of $100. I'm sure it'll show up on camera. I mean, the subject matter that I'm talking about, it is heavily Western themed. And if you're not from the US, I mean the Wild West, as in cowboys on the prairie. And I would love to see more of the Wild West idea. So even though I'm not a huge fan of Western, I really like that idea of the Wild West, I guess. And I mentioned wanting to see some kind of icons of the Wild West series from the Mint. But I think it's a safe bet that the Mint doesn't have the guts to do it. I mean, most of those icons probably did have a brush or two with the law, and some were just straight up criminals. But I would settle for a Wild Bill Hickok. Aces and eights, dead man's hand on the reverse. Easy. Now just to get back to the price, 2 years ago, I would not have bought this coin. It doesn't have anything to do with my income. It just wouldn't have been able to justify it to myself without this YouTube channel. I mean, basically, if I'm just buying gold for that primary reason of building up value and hard assets, then I'm far more focused on acquisition costs and I'm far more focused on resale factors. And so for a long time, I had about 80% American Gold Eagles. And that was just kind of the logical decision. And you could argue that I guess Buffaloes would be similarly logical. Maybe it's Canadian Maple Leafs or Britannias or Krugerrands, depending on what you have going on personally. But it wouldn't include coins like these. Now, I've mentioned before that ad revenue lets me make questionable decisions, and this is really no exception. I was able to buy this thing without a whole lot of thought, a whole lot of consideration. I just knew it would be nice, so I bought it. And I do understand, for the record, just how fortunate a person needs to be able to say something like that. So don't mistake that as me trying to prop up my alter ego here. I'm just trying to point out that this was an easier decision than it would have been in the past. Now, I guess the reason that I bought this coin is simple. It's just that it's interesting. Now, gold can be more than a simple savings account, so I'm showing these coins alongside those ideas of why to buy, how to buy, what to buy. It's just more compelling to show some fun stuff. So whenever I ask my kids what coins they like, it's always the Liberty coins, Perth Mint Lunars, coins with dragons on them, maybe the Swan, but it's never the Eagles. It's never the Buffaloes. And if you've watched a few of these videos by now, you know that that doesn't have a huge influence on what I stack. Basically, I do the opposite of what they prefer aesthetically, but I do think it's important to get my kids interested in gold. So I try to involve them in some of those buying decisions. And, you know, it's more than just my kids. I guess between my kids, this channel, and the Discord server, it's pretty clear that logical decision making alone isn't really what makes the gold buying topic compelling. And that's not something to shrug off. I personally think the potential need to fall back on gold in a near-term emergency is a lot less likely than needing it much further down the road. And just to get really specific there, I guess what I'm saying is I think it's more likely that my kids will need it. So I like getting something interesting now and then that I guess they're interested in. I feel like this is a little bit of a rant now, but it is easy to think in terms of what you'd like your kids or your family or your friends to know about gold. And none of us are going to teach our kids to run out and buy metals because of what's happening in Afghanistan or what might be happening with Basel III regulations. That's just all a never-ending noise parade. That is gas station gossip. It gets views, but it doesn't help anyone unless you're the person getting the ad revenue. Now, the bigger consideration is always long-term planning for me, and this doesn't fit into those plans for how I want to build value over time and how I want to keep everything liquid, but it does get my kids more interested. And that premium would be easily recouped. This would be an easy flip. I could get back that extra premium and then some. It's on eBay right now for $3,100 and up, and I do think that this one will hold its value really well. Now, as far as how it compares to the other coins in this series, well, first off, I think the other coins have much better eagles. These are just great examples. I've always thought of what the US Mint could do when they set their minds to it. Now, these are absolutely beautiful coins, and I know that some people have said that they didn't like that the Mint was reimagining the idea of Lady Liberty, but I think they're great. I think we can have more than one symbol for Liberty on a gold coin. There's really just no question, though, just how nice these coins are, and I wish that the US Mint would do more of it. You know, not for the 50% premium, but it would be great to have a series that was produced for a reasonable amount of money, maybe in the same form factor as the Eagles and the Buffaloes, like the Royal Mint does and like the Perth Mint does. And I'm sure these are aimed at a totally different collector market, but if we had a series, something as good looking as the Queen's Beasts that the Royal Mint put out here in the United States, I'm sure it would be incredibly popular. This really is kind of an angry looking eagle. The rest of the coin, though, is just fantastic. It makes me want more of it. Again, I just wish there was a series. This coin, though, by itself is probably, I don't even think probably, it is my favorite coin from the US Mint. I'm not even sure what else would compare to it. I suppose the ultra high relief double eagle from 2009, but I think this one actually beats it. So let us know what you think. Do you like the coin? Would your kids like the coin? I think price is easily the biggest factor for this one. It's just a little bit hard to justify. So let us know if you picked it up. Let us know if you think anyone who did is crazy. And while you're there, hit the like button and double check to make sure you're subscribed if you like seeing gold. And if you're still here, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.